She was the princess who could silence a stadium with a single smile, the young woman whose kindness seemed inexhaustible and whose style turned corridors of power into runways. Yet behind the camera flashes and bouquets, there was a private diary of sleepless nights, a voice recorded in letters that spoke of isolation, and a relentless press pack that could turn any street into a hunting ground. The fairy tale wedding gave the world an icon. The years that followed carved a legend out of heartbreak. In Paris, that legend met a violent end that still refuses to settle into a simple explanation. And the questions that bloomed that night have never fully withered. This film does not chase scandal for its own sake. It follows the trail Diana left in plain sight, from the public glow to the private cost, from carefully staged smiles to unguarded words, from charity wards to the narrow tunnel where history bent. What truth survives when an image is loved by millions and examined by millions more? What remains, and for whom, when the smile fades? Diana Frances Spencer was not born into royalty, yet destiny placed her at the heart of one of the world's most powerful monarchies. In 1981, as the bells of St. Paul's Cathedral rang and billions watched on television, her marriage to Prince Charles appeared to seal a fairy tale. The shy nursery teacher from Norfolk transformed overnight into the Princess of Wales, a figure adored for her compassion, her elegance, and the warmth that seemed to transcend the rigid walls of Buckingham Palace. For a time, she embodied hope, the promise that royalty could be approachable, human, and even vulnerable. But the glittering ceremonies, the dazzling tiaras, and the endless charity galas only told half the story. The young princess was soon caught between ancient traditions and the harsh glare of the tabloid press. Every gesture, every outfit, every whisper of her private life became global headlines. What the public saw was an icon. What Diana lived was a relentless cycle of pressure, scrutiny, and loneliness. To understand her life fully, we must look beyond the gowns and the global applause. We must explore the letters that revealed her deepest fears, the fractured marriage that haunted her, the fatal night in Paris that shocked the world, and the legacy, both financial and spiritual, that she left for her sons, William and Harry. From the first moment she stepped into the limelight, Diana became known as the People's Princess. She possessed an aura that seemed to cut through royal formality. Crowds reached for her hand, and she reached back. Hospitals, orphanages, and AIDS wards, places often shunned by others, became her chosen stages. Photographs of her kneeling beside children or clasping the hands of AIDS patients redefined the image of royalty. Fashion houses hailed her as a muse, newspapers celebrated her as a global star, and in the public imagination, she was untouchable. But while the world adored her, Diana lived under relentless pressure. Paparazzi followed her every step, cameras thrust into her face even as she shielded her sons. The same image that built her fame became a prison. Behind the carefully managed smiles, she confided in friends that she felt trapped, watched, and profoundly alone. Her marriage to Prince Charles was framed as a dream union, but Diana herself later described it as a gilded cage. Charles's enduring bond with Camilla Parker Bowles overshadowed their relationship, and Diana's personal recordings and letters reveal how deeply that wound cut. In her own handwriting, she spoke of sleepless nights, emotional turmoil, and the sinking realization that her marriage was more performance than partnership. These letters are windows into her private despair notes, filled with confessions of feeling unprotected and fears that forces within the establishment wanted her silenced. The honesty of her words stripped away the fairy tale and showed the cost of being a princess in name, but not in heart. On the night of the 31st of August 1997, the world's most photographed woman entered the Pont de l'Alma tunnel in Paris. Minutes later, her car was a wreck of twisted steel, and Diana, Princess of Wales, lay fatally injured. News spread at dawn, and grief erupted globally. Candles lined the gates of Kensington Palace, flowers piled into mountains, and millions wept for a woman they felt they knew personally. The official explanation was simple: a car speeding to escape paparazzi, a driver under the influence, a tragic accident. Yet, from the beginning, doubts refused to fade. Witnesses reported mysterious flashes of light in the tunnel. Theories circulated that Diana had been targeted because of her relationship with Dodi Fayed, or because she threatened the image of the monarchy. Mohammed al-Fayed, Dodi's father, publicly claimed the pair were victims of a plot. Even Diana herself, in letters written years before, hinted at fears of being eliminated in a staged car crash. For decades, inquiries and investigations attempted to put the questions to rest. Official verdicts declared it an accident, but to many, the shadows surrounding her death remain as compelling as her life. Each theory, whether dismissed or sustained, feeds the enduring mystery. Was it chance, or was it design? At the time of her death, Diana's personal fortune was estimated at around $25 million US, drawn largely from her divorce settlement with Prince Charles, personal jewelry, and the trust she inherited from her father's estate. Unlike many royals, Diana had carved out a financial independence that gave her the freedom to pursue her humanitarian passions on her own terms. Yet the true legacy she left behind cannot be measured solely in money. In her will, she ensured that her sons, William and Harry, would inherit not only her financial assets but also her personal treasures. Her jewelry collection, including the sapphire engagement ring now worn by Catherine, Princess of Wales, became symbolic heirlooms of continuity and love. The estate she passed down was more than wealth. It was a tangible reminder of her presence in their lives, even in absence. But Diana's deeper inheritance to her children was her vision of a different kind of monarchy, one that was human, compassionate, and close to the people. William and Harry grew up seeing their mother embrace AIDS patients, walk through minefields in Angola, and speak openly about mental health. Those lessons shaped their own public roles, embedding Diana's ethos into a new generation of royals. Today, her legacy endures not just in the millions she left behind, but in the way she redefined what it means to serve, to lead, and to love under the brightest and harshest lights of fame. On screen and in photographs, she seemed untouchable, the radiant princess with the world at her feet. Yet behind closed doors, Diana was fragile, isolated, and fighting battles that no crown could shield her from. The contrast between her public smile and private sorrow became the very essence of her story. A woman adored by millions but often abandoned by those closest to her. Her death in Paris froze that story in time, transforming her into an eternal symbol. To this day, people still debate whether she was a victim of circumstance or something more sinister. But beyond the unanswered questions and the theories that refuse to fade, Diana remains what she always was to the people: human, relatable, and deeply loved. The world remembers her as the Princess of Wales, but more than that, as the people's princess. Her smile lit up rooms, her compassion bridged divides, and her courage reshaped a monarchy. Decades after her passing, the shadow of Diana still stretches across history, reminding us that even the brightest fame comes with its own darkness. Diana's story is one of light and shadow, of love that inspired millions, and of pain that few ever truly saw. Even today, her life and death raise questions that stir both sorrow and fascination. But what do you believe? Was her tragic end simply an accident, or is there more hidden in the shadows? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear your voice. And if this journey into the life behind the legend moved you, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel Fame and Shadows, and turn on the notification bell. That way, you'll never miss the stories of other icons whose lives were filled with brilliance, mystery, and heartbreak. Because every star has its light and its shadow, and here we reveal both.